thinking and doing green. I guess that's the next wave. Maybe that can give a solution to some of the infrastructural gap that we have in the country. Now, let's talk about doing business in a high interest rate environment, which is our reality here in Nigeria. We talk about ease of doing business. What about the cost of funding? And we're going to discuss this with Mr. Babatunde Erinjogunola. He is the Chief Executive Officer, Executive Vice Chairman of Smartcom Investments Limited. Mr. Erinjogunola, thank you for your time and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so before we get into that high interest rate issue, let me just get your thoughts on this launch by the federal government, which was announced by the Minister of Finance yesterday, the domestic bonds. What are some of the advantages and how effective do you see this going in funding our budget, which is the core, of borrowings by the government?
Yeah, I think it's thank you. I think it's a very good initiative. It's been long overdue. We have left our critical value base left untapped, or we are tapping them wrongly. We have a huge number of Nigerians all around the world that have, made it, and they can actually support the economy by investing in Nigeria. Feelings around the world is that they can't even know where to put the money to. They try to talk to investors and talk to brothers and sisters, and what happens is they usually have bad experience. But if a bond of like $500 million is being promoted by the Ministry of Finance and Central Bank, that will give them the confidence enough to bring in the needed foreign exchange, which anyway is almost Nigeria's right, because Nigeria trained most of these people, and they've been abroad, and now they want to give back, but the medium through which they will do that is just worrisome for them. So this bond is a good one. It will, bring in more foreign exchange into the country, help to stabilize the economy, and at the same time, give government and the people the feeling that have been our citizens abroad in diaspora, a good feeling again about Nigeria. And they can see, especially with what government is doing lately in terms of being transparent, coming out to tell us what they're doing and how they are doing things. I think we should applaud them for that. I like the idea.
Okay, but does this reduce the cost of debt servicing since it's in dollars?
Yeah, it should. Well, debt servicing is it's what you have agreed on already. So whatever it is just for you to ensure that you get more inflow into your system, such that you will be able to take from that to service your debt, conveniently, and be able to still support productivity in the economy. So that's what. So it's the volume we're able to get in, and what we put into that will make the difference for us.
Yeah, obviously what we put into, because a lot of people have said, even though we've seen debt to GDP ratio above 50% for the first time in the country, it shouldn't actually be a source of worry if we had, for instance, we're doing $500 million now. What purpose is it tied to? Do we see that purpose coming to pass? So with that, you can actually track the benefits of this loan, and, servicing it wouldn't be so much of a problem.
Yeah, that's it. And, just to give you a bit of perspective and concern into that, we are good at coming up with policies. And when we even mention the purpose, and the purpose is known to the public, how do we ensure compliance, that we keep to what we said we would do, and we're able to extract the expected outcome out of it? For me, that has been a challenge. We've had good ideas coming from Ministry of Finance and CBN. Talk about the SME funding we had in 2010. In 2000, there was this program by the Central Bank, which the Bankers Committee promoted, where they take 10% of the PBT of banks and use it to support the small and medium-scale industry. And that, I actually participated in that, and that helped a lot of small businesses to be able to access cheap funds, and they promoted their business, and some of them became a publicly quoted company through that process. But that was abandoned. I'm not saying it may not be perfect in terms of how it was operated that time, but we have to pick the values in them and learn our mistakes and continue. But the rate at which we abandon good initiative, especially in Nigeria when we are trying to solve problem of deepening the market, empowering the people. We are too quick to abandon policies. So I hope this 500 million bond and the target market for it will be successful, and when it does, we're able to sustain it.
So how would you say, or what would you say, what measures would you say could be put in place for this $500 million bond to make it effective? Do we publicize maybe a purpose for it? Do we put timelines? Something like that that could actually make it impactful.
Well, the global finance today is supported by strong compliance process and mechanism. So the CBN, as the regulatory body, Ministry of Finance, should come up with strong compliance process to support the policy implementation, such that when the fund is launched, the purpose is declared, and compliance to make sure that what they said the money will be used for is what is used for, and they measure the performance, they measure the outcome. With that, we will be able to know when to launch another one, or people will come out, because there might be periodic reporting of how it's going, and you'll see it driving more interest in people that are a bit skeptical about investing in Nigeria. Nigeria today can actually bring in over 20, 40 billion, dollars into the economy, but they are just afraid. So compliance, commitment to what we say we would do, and being transparent about it and reporting it objectively to the public will help a lot in reinstating confidence in Nigeria and our people in diaspora, because we have enough in diaspora to actually support us at this critical moment.
Because we just even saw a report from NIDCOM CEO saying that I think about $99 million have been remitted from the diaspora community in 5 years. So obviously a lot of potentials there. But where does the hike I know the last hike on the NPR was a moderate one. Where does it fit into all of this? Obviously, it will make bonds like this more attractive to investors. But on the other hand, what is it doing to the real sector? That's also another side of the conversation.
Well, that's always the challenge with policy. There is always the up and there is the down. So what is important to you at the moment is what you focus on, and you continue to engage the policy in terms of evaluation, such that at the right time you can review and make adjustments as appropriate. So to get straight to your point, I think the $500 million bond being raised by the CBN is actually a follow-on to the hike in interest rate, because with that, the CBN, I don't think they've announced the rate, the yield on it already. But the good thing about it is that it will drive in more foreign exchange, and it will help to, in a way, appreciate the Naira from the challenging situation it has been over the time. But I think that is the primary concern of government. They want to stabilize the exchange rate space and make sure that people can plan, international community can, do medium and long-term business with Nigeria. So with that in place and the bond coming up, hopefully that will create the necessary inflow to help stabilize the Naira. But the other side to it is the credit supply in the local market. You'll find out that banks will be kind of reluctant to grant loan to businesses. At the same time, cost of borrowing will go up. So all of this will be temporary. So hopefully, if the first one is successful or is achieved, where we have more inflow into the economy and there is that stability, and the political noise, well, I'm being careful about that, because government appear to be too pressured with the political situation around foreign exchange, fluctuation. So hopefully, if we can allow the government to have a kind of a stable time to be able to implement some of the policies, options they have, all in a mix, hopefully in a short time, we will have some relief we are looking at any policy around things like this will be about 18 to 24 months. So if we put too much pressure on our government, it tends to shift their focus out of actually digging deep into the benefits of the policy they put on the table. So I think we should work with the government at this stage and be patriotic enough to trust them and demand from them anything that is not clear to us through writing them or programs like this, and hopefully we will all be on the same page. We must work together to solve the problem at hand. We cannot be drawing ourselves back and expect to make progress.
Yeah, it does sound like you're referring to the protest asking for more time, just as the federal government has asked. But I guess the man on the street is hungry, and if you ask for more time, how much time and how much more can they endure? But just tell us, in this era of high interest rates in the country, what are some strategies that businesses, I mean, even the small and the big businesses are facing it? What are some strategies you think they can use as a hedge at a time like this?
Yeah, the good thing for us is for us now to look at the advantages of this and see how best we can draw on them. Number one is that businesses must be careful now in terms of borrowing and all of that, because the cost is high, and that would be passed on to the consumer, whatever products they make, and from there, they will not be able to sell as they expect, and there will be less revenue for them and all of that. And the effect of that will be to look inwards and begin to reduce staff and unemployment and all of that. So we should be a bit resilient and come up with ideas, probably look to other means of raising funds, like the government is coming now to Nigerians abroad or wherever that will bring in dollars. We too can reach out to our colleagues, our friends who are, who share ideas about our business, or we approach financial consultants who can guide us as to who are having money and they can invest in our business. We are just always running solo most of the time. So when we work together, we would put funds together and we can invest in our business and reduce the cost of funds, and ultimately growth can, follow that process. Another idea is for us to look at the assets we don't actually need for now and sell them off to raise capital to support our business. And most importantly, we have to be a bit resilient at this point, not to take any harsh or rash decision that will impact us on the long run. So we should be calm, we should be strategic, and engaging with the government and its policies to see the benefits therein.
I wonder if there are opportunities for businesses to also benefit from this, the high yield rate, for instance, like this Eurobond. I know this particular one, the government is targeting the diaspora, but do you see opportunities for businesses to also maybe go into the treasury bond, treasury market, treasury bills, bonds and OMO and all of that? Are there opportunities for them to hedge in these areas?
Well, that will only be good for those just in the investment space, not for businesses that are offering products and services. Because when you offer products and services, you need the cash to pay your suppliers, to buy products, pay staff, and all your costs. You don't want to put that money in just instruments that will be there and you'll be waiting for the time to liquidate it and get your yield. That is not for ordinary the businesses on the street that you and me engage on a daily basis. So what is good for those ones is government can do something as well like they've done before. I mean, Nigeria cannot be lacking in good initiatives and ideas. Governments in this country have come up with some good ideas to support businesses by SME guarantee scheme, which will maybe they will make that available to our banks, and SME can be given a special rate based on CBN guarantee for small businesses. So it will reduce the impact on small businesses, because what we don't want to do at this stage is to destroy or lower our production base. At this stage is the time for us to advance our productivity. Let me share with you that there is a lot we can do beyond our oil, attachment to oil revenue. For instance, Thailand is the highest producer of cassava, exporter of cassava in the world. Why would that be when Nigeria produces cassava easily and there is market for starch all around the world? So people can be supported to go into land and produce and sell and even generate revenue for the government. The same thing goes for, like chicken, frozen food that we import. Our people have the capacity to grow chicken, breed chicken in just like 2 months, 2.5 months. We're there because all we need, there is capacity in the country to do all of these basic agricultural activities that can generate foreign exchange, at the same time provide stability in our economy by making food cheaper. So these are a mix of ideas that we can put together either at the institutional level, by the government, or by even our groups, small businesses, association groups and all of that. We have to just continue to think. The same effort with which we put into trying to get the government to do the right thing, we must share that with ourselves as well to make sure that we are doing the right thing that this situation calls for, because this is a very challenging situation and it's not limited to Nigeria anyway. So it's a global issue. It's just that it affects us differently. I will want to encourage small businesses to continue to come through their cooperative and association, put together, know their demands, let's suggest to government how they can help us, what help we need, and they'll come to stations like this and say it, and hopefully government will listen.
Yeah, well, hopefully they will. Hopefully they will listen, Mr. Erinjogunola, because a lot of them have been here, and we have shared great and brilliant ideas. But it all goes back to the ease of doing business. It all goes back. The Poultry Association have been here, and they've talked about their challenges, and all of that. The farmers' security is the top on their list. So these issues are there, and these ideas are really flying in the air, but actually getting it done, as you said, we need a lot of government intervention. But we have to thank you so much for your time this morning. Chief Executive Officer and Executive Vice Chairman of Smartcom Investments Limited, Mr. Babatunde Erinjogunola. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll head to the markets. Stay with us.